All right, I try to run a pretty simple program. So the volunteer on the left, I use that for killing grasses in our alfalfa. In these cold, wet springs on an established field of alfalfa, we'd have a hard time holding back quack grass and crabgrass. So the volunteer works good for that. The weather guard is just a conditioner. It's an anti-foam agent. It's a water conditioner. And then it's also it helps the chemical. It kind of burns the plant, because plants, a lot of weeds have a kind of a waxy protecting on their surface, and so that weather guard helps burn that surface so the chemical can get into the plant more. Soybean side, we'll go out first with our Inlight, always with some Roundup, but we'll go out with the Inlight, and that is our pre-emerge for our soybean program. That'll allow us 15 to almost 20 days of protection, and then we'll come back with the moccasin, and if we have to, we'll bring a little more Roundup at that point, but at that point we should be very, very, very clean. We'll come back with the moccasin, and then that's another residual to give us another 15 or 20 days, and hopefully at the end of that 40 days the crop is up and big enough and canopying where for the rest of the season we don't have much weeds. But with that stupid ragweed and water hemp, their germination date really draws out. Most of your weeds, after 15-20 days of planting, most of them weeds germination date is dying off, but that water hemp and ragweed, their germination dates are still very active into August and September, which is a pain in the butt. So then at that point, after 40 days, there's no residual that we can put down anymore, because we don't want herbicide carryover into next year's crop. So at that point, we'll just spend the rest of the season scouting, and if you see one little tiny green thing out there, then we just go out with some Roundup and hit it when it's literally tiny, because once some of them weeds get to 2, 3, 4 inches tall, there's no stopping them. The Tepera Plus is kind of a fun new product. That is just a fungicide and an insecticide for our in-furrow. By moving to this no-till soil health thing, we've increased our soil life a lot, and a couple of them bugs that we've brought to life are not our friend. They eat our seed, where the insecticide in-furrow helps kill them bad bugs. And with these cold, wet soils that we're in, is a great environment for fungicide or fungus, and even when it gets warm and wet later on. A couple neighbors have tried this, and they had a great response from it. It is not cheap by any means, but I think for us, we're going to slowly use more. So this year we just got enough to do some trials on it, and to see what, do some check strips and then use this and see if there is a response. Did the response pay for it? What were the conditions of this year? And then we'll do a couple years of trials on it before we really go broad acre on it. But it's a good product that I think will find its way on our farm more and more. And then in the big tote and this Instigate, they are both a pre-emerge product for my corn. It's break free. In that tote, a couple things with the DuPont products. I know DuPont does not make cheap products. You can buy generic products for a lot less money. If a guy had a station set up where he could be mixing and matching his own chemicals, you could buy the chemicals that make Inlight or make Moccasin or make Instigate, or Break Free. You could buy the generic chemicals and blend them yourself for some good savings, but I'm not at that point yet. I am not a chemical guy. Give me a couple years and I'll have something set up, but for right now, DuPont, yep, they're proud of their product. They are a little pricey, but for a guy like me that's just figuring this chemical crap out, they are a great product because they have a lot of safeners in their stuff. They're labeled very clear. Group 2 and 14, labeled very clear. We know what we're doing. Group 2 and 27, it's labeled, it's easy to read, and like I said, with the safeners in there, I have never had a herbicide problem using DuPont stuff, even when I've made mistakes on applications. Some of the neighbors had the co-op spray or themselves spray, and they were using a cheap generic, not and they had problems, plain and simple. So that's my little spiel I tell myself of why I spend the extra money on the DuPont stuff. And DuPont gives me 0% interest for the season. Kind of hard to beat that, but I'm learning. So yeah, that's pretty simple chemical program. 2 pass in soybeans, 1 pass in corn, alfalfa pass as needed, and with any luck we'll have extremely clean fields. All right guys, thank you.